Hey everybody, how's it going? B Temple back again, and today we're gonna finally move on to the reviews of the previous two rations that were done in a comparative review. That was the 2015 and 2015 and 2000 Menu B 24-hour New Zealand rations. So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna review our Menu B ration from 2000. As you might recall, this looked a lot nicer in its previous packaging. I don't know how they were so perfect in packaging it before, but when I had to sort of repack this, it needed all the extra space in the bag it could take. So yeah, it's not nearly as neat as it was before. But we've got 24 hours worth of stuff here, so what we're going to do, off camera, I'm going to sort of lay all this out again and try to figure out exactly how I'm going to break it down into breakfast, dinner, and then supper. So I'll be back in 1 second with breakfast. So we got everything laid out, guys, and this is what we're going to have for our breakfast. A little bit of a, I guess, a smallish kind of breakfast. We're going to have our toasted muesli, and I'm not entirely sure if it's got milk powder in it or not, so that's going to be the deciding factor on whether this is going to be edible or not, I suppose, is the best way to put it. I mean, it is 18 years old now, and dried milk powder, if it is got dried milk powder in it, that's going to be way too long to be sitting around for that to be edible. What else we got? Well, our two drinks. We're going to go with some tea. We'll try out the chocolate drink, and I guess all the little snacks and sides, I suppose, to go along with it. We got ourselves a little apricot muesli bar. Got a packet of ginger nut biscuits, and then we got our pack of cream crackers. And for toppings for that, we're going to go with our strawberry fruit spread and our cheese spread. And I really don't know if that's going to be good or not, but we're going to find out. Now, obviously, the New Zealand ration didn't come with its own, I guess, cutlery or whatever you want to call it. They must have their own mess kit, I suppose, supplied to them. So in its place, we're just going to use the good old CR1M shovel. So I guess the first thing we can do is probably get our drinks going, and we'll get the muesli opened up and get that mixed up. So we got some hot water here. First thing we'll do, I guess, is open up our tea bag. I'm going to assume this is just one pouch. And it's just a complete nondescript pouch, which has a Bell brand tea bag inside. Still smells like tea. We'll let that sit and do its thing. Next we'll open up our chocolate drink and mix it up in here. Doesn't give any instructions whatsoever on, how much water to use or anything. So we're going to have to just eyeball it, I suppose. Still looks fairly granular. It's no big clumps or anything like that. So it's easy to see the sugar crystals in there. I guess it is a little clumpy. It smells a little bit stale, I suppose. I'm going to mix it with cold water just to make sure. I find by putting hot water in something that seems kind of stale, it really, really brings out the stale kind of flavor. That looks like about enough. And we'll give that a stir. And that really doesn't seem to be mixing very well. Like it doesn't have a like a hot chocolate kind of look to it. It doesn't look milky in any way. It's still kind of a little bit opaque, I guess. It kind of looks a bit like the ORP cola drink or the Finnish ration cola drink, but we'll stir it up a bit more and then let it sit for a little bit and see what happens. But not getting my hopes up right now. Next we'll open up our muesli, and I think we'll just pour it out in the main tray here and then add the water to it. So it just says toes of muesli. I don't know what the sort of other ingredients would be. So it looks like we've got pieces of dried fruit and raisins and whatnot, and lots of oats and sort of little granola pieces. That actually smells really nice. It's very similar to the muesli that you see today in Australian rations. It's got some pumpkin seeds in there and sunflower seeds. So I mean, there's a possibility, obviously, that they've oxidized and gone a little rancid. But the smell coming off this is really nice, actually. So we're going to add a little bit of cold water. I prefer cold instead of hot water for my muesli. Try to make sure everything's at least a little bit hydrated. I tell you, the smell coming off that is lovely. So that's a good sign. I wasn't feeling very good about the chocolate drink mix, but that muesli, as of now, seems fantastic. I don't know how sweetened it is, but I guess we'll find that out as well. And if we maybe need to add something for a little sweetness, well then we've got our strawberry jam. We can sort of jazz it up a little bit. Next, let's open up our muesli bar. So this is an apricot flavor, 34 grams. This doesn't want to open properly, and I don't really want to tear this up too much if I don't have to. So as you can see, it looks like a little bit sort of like a granola bar. It's got some pieces of fruit in there, well, obviously apricot. Looks like it may have oxidized a little bit. It's a little crumbly. And the smell coming off of it's that sort of slight fermented smell, like if you get old fig bars from old RCWs or something along those lines. So it's got that kind of smell to it, but it's also still got a really nice sort of muesli, sort of grain kind of smell, you know, like a Nutri-Grain bar kind of thing. So it should be okay. Oh, next, we'll open up our ginger nut biscuits. Now, these have a little bit of a white residue on them. Oh, yeah, they have a really, really strong ginger smell. They seem okay, but we'll find out for sure now in a minute when we actually try one out. Next, we'll open up our packet of cream crackers. I'd be very surprised if these are actually still in good shape, but we'll see. They are at least in a cardboard sleeve, so that does help. Not only are they in a cardboard sleeve, they're actually in a little tiny individual box. So you get 4 of them. Oh yeah, those have that kind of bleachy smell that MRE crackers sometimes get. I'm pretty sure the oil or the shortening in these has long gone off. The brand name is Huntler, perhaps? Huntley? Let's see if we can find one that doesn't have the crack right there. Yeah. Huntley cream crackers. Palmer. So, yeah, that's not a great smell coming off of those. So we could be using the jam just for the muesli. Next, we're gonna open up this thing, and there's a reason why the cheese spread used to be in cans, and then went back to being in cans. These they were packed in packages like this, and if you remember from the previous review when we went through everything, there were 3 20-gram packets. What they used to find was that these would burst fairly easily, and they would go bad a bit quicker. So the quality of this is not quite as good. So for sitting around for 18 years, this does still feel fairly pliable, but really what we're looking for is the color, and what the color is going to be like when we open it. So it's still got that sort of cream ivory color inside, like Bag of Cheese actually still has today. Let's just give it a sniff. That's amazing. That smells like brand new canned cheese you would normally find in CR1Ms or whatever. That's insane. I can't believe that. So we'll at least be trying it out, I suppose. And lastly, we'll open up our jam. Got the little push through. Ooh, that was under pressure. I'm gonna have to clean up a little bit. So yeah, that looks fairly discolored and oxidized, and doesn't really have much of a smell to it at all. The jam that sort of sprayed out. We'll maybe give it a try, but I don't have very high hopes for it. So everything's all unpacked now. I guess the first thing we can do is give our muesli a try. So I mean, if you laid this in front of someone, I don't think they would know that this muesli was, 18 years old. The one thing I'm thinking of is the use of milk powder, if they use real milk powder or not. So I don't know if I should maybe take a small spoonful first. Let's just try this little tiny bit first, just to make sure that nothing here has gone horribly bad. Those dried fruit pieces probably need a bit more time, but I tell you, that is perfect. It's actually a little bit off-putting that this tastes just like brand new. Like if you had a muesli from a regular, modern ration, this tastes just as good as that. That's amazing. I'm going to get a nice big mouthful now with a little bit of everything. Everything still has the flavor that it's supposed to have. These raisins are a little bit sort of, I guess, rehydrated now. They're still nice and chewy, got a nice sweetness to them. The little pieces of, I guess, papaya maybe. They actually taste like papaya. The pumpkin seeds are great. The sunflower seeds sort of have their own individual flavor. The oats are still nice and crunchy, and don't feel stale or taste stale in any way. So yeah, I'm incredibly impressed that this has lasted, or gone through the test of time. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about that. Let's try a little bit of the jam on its own first. I am kind of interested to see. Of course, this is going to make a big, huge state. A little interested to see if it actually is still good or not. Of course, it doesn't want to come out now. So yeah, that's supposed to be strawberry jam. Looks a little bit brown to me, but let's give a little bit of it a try. Oh, that's horrible. That's yeah, that is not good anymore. So that will not be used anymore. I'm gonna have to clean up all of this stuff again. So yeah, when I first unpacked everything in the previous review, I commented on the fact there was a little tiny bit of sort of residue on the outside of the jam packet, and I guess that must have been like a very minor sort of pinhole, or even just a slight sort of break in the packaging, just enough to let oxygen in. And yeah, that's just gone completely bad. That's a bit of a shame, actually, because everything, well, out of these two items, one have been great and one hasn't been so good. So let's move on to one of our drinks. Let's try out our tea. It's certainly gotten nice and dark, I must say. Let's give it a little stir just to get a bit more out of it. But this looks like it's going to be a nice, strong black tea. Oh, that's lovely. Not too bitter, but you can certainly get the tannins. It's a nice dark tea. I don't usually put any cream or sugar or anything in my tea, so it's good. It's perfect just as it is. A little tiny touch of sort of like woodiness to it. I don't know if that's just the age or not, but it's actually really nice. This chocolate drink really doesn't look very good. I'll give it one more stir and then let it sit, and we'll try it now in a second. Next, let's try out our muesli bar. So yeah, it's kind of crumbly. The fruit obviously looks like it's oxidized, but we'll give it a little taste. Oh yeah, that's gone rancid. It's that little tiny bit of tingle on the tongue and on the roof of your mouth. Use some tea to wash that down. Yeah, that's not good at all. The fruit has fermented, but then I guess whatever shortening or oils they used in the mix as well has certainly gone bad. So yeah, that item's not very good. Let's try one of our ginger nut cookies. They sound like they're pretty hard. Let's see if they. That doesn't seem good. They seem stale yet a little bit wet. is the best way to put it. It didn't really snap very well, so anyway, let's give this a try. I'm sure those were lovely when they were fresh, but they haven't aged very well. They're not fresh at all. Obviously, they're 18 years old. They're not fresh, but they have no crisp to them. They're dry yet not dry. I don't really know how to describe it. It just kind of crumbles more than anything when you bite into it. The ginger flavor, I don't know if it's artificial or natural or not, but it hasn't aged very well. It doesn't seem rancid, but at the same time, obviously, it's just not good, you know. Next, we're gonna try one of our crackers. We obviously can't eat them with the jam, but we'll try a little piece on its own first. And like I said before, I don't really have high hopes. Well, they smells worse than it tastes, I guess. That's the best way to put it. But actually, no, as we go along, that aftertaste is not very good. Yeah. I have to go back to the tea again. Thank God that tea is really, really good. That's really helping. Hasn't been a whole lot good here. It's almost like I shouldn't have started with the muesli. That kind of got my hopes up, because everything else since that's not been very good at all, aside from the tea. Lastly, we have our cheese spread. I don't really want to wuss out, but I really don't feel good about trying this. Let's just squeeze out a little tiny. Yeah, it's like chunky and gelatinous. Yeah, I don't feel good about trying that out, guys. I'd usually try just about anything, but old cheese like that, and it's gotten really chunky, that's probably where I'm going to draw the line. Last thing we'll try for breakfast is going to be our chocolate drink. And that tastes like absolutely nothing. It just tastes like water that you put some powder in. That didn't age very well at all either. So, guys, this has been breakfast for our review of our 2000 Menu B New Zealand 24-hour ration. The tea is fantastic and the muesli is fantastic, and everything else, not so much. What we're going to do next is, when the time comes, finish eating this, get everything sort of cleared up, and then we'll move on to our dinner portion and see how that fares. So be back in a little while. Okay, everybody, now we're going to come back and we're going to see what we're going to have for dinner. So our items for dinner, we're going to try out our prawn-flavored instant noodles. We're going to try out our cold drink lemon lime. Actually, no. Decided I'm going to do the lemon lime drink for our supper meal. We'll have tea again. There is a bunch of coffee that came with this, but I don't plan on drinking coffee. I don't drink coffee, so I don't see the need of it. We're going to go with some tropical fruit grains. We're going to go with a milk chocolate bar. We have a cheese spread and a multi-grain sultana, or muesli bar, I mean. Actually, no, it's apricot, isn't it? Yes, muesli bar apricot. We've got that in the cheese spread. We'll open them up just for the sake of opening them, but I don't think they're going to be any better than what they were previously. And for our main meal for this time, we're going to go with beef satay. It's in a retort pouch with a nice gusset, 250 grams. And what we're going to do first is get this into some boiling water to heat it up, and then we'll come back. Now, to expedite things a little bit, I've already got some water ready for the noodles. I've already got the hot water ready for the tea bag. And I just realized, well, we do have some soya sauce as well, so we might try that out with the noodles if we want. So first thing we'll do is just get the tea going. Our main entree is heating up in the boiling water. Same as last time, nondescript green package. Bell brand tea. Smells good just like the last one. And we'll get our instant noodles ready. So I really honestly don't know how these are going to turn out. Also, the prawn flavor kind of is a little strange. I've never had prawn flavored or shrimp flavored or anything like that noodles. So we'll see how it turns out. Just looks like a regular pack of Mr. Noodle or something like that. Those noodles smell really stale. Oh, and then seasoning pack is actually an oil. It's probably fish oil. And it has completely solidified. Awesome. I probably should have put the noodles in first and then poured the water on it, but I'll have to just deal with that now, I suppose. Let's just try to break this up a little bit. So we'll let that just sit back here and rehydrate a little bit. I don't know if I just don't have enough water in it or not, but anyway. We'll see after it's rehydrated. We'll do this the mee goreng way. We'll pour the water out and then I'll add the seasoning. While the main's still heating up, I guess we'll just get the rest of the items unpacked. So let's open up our tropical fruit grains. I assume they're just going to be sort of little tiny pieces of just sort of like jelly candy, I suppose, is a fruit candy. And they have discolored greatly. There's a lot of sort of powder on them, as you can see. They look like they've certainly dried out, but they smell pretty good, so I guess we'll just give it a try, I suppose. And then let's also open up our milk chocolate bar. I'm interested to see how this actually has fared. Usually Australian chocolate doesn't fare very well, but usually the New Zealand stuff sort of seems to last a little longer. And this is obviously 18 years old. The chances that this is going to be bloomed is very high, so I'm expecting this to sort of just kind of look white, but we'll find out. Wow, that is absolutely amazing. That chocolate bar is 18 years old and looks better than some Australian CR1M chocolate that I've seen that's only 2 years old. This is, wow. I can't believe that. That's absolutely crazy. What else can we do, I guess? The tea is steeping as we speak. The noodles still need a little bit of time. See if I can flip these without making too much of a state. It's too much to ask, I guess, to not be able to do this without making a mess. I probably picked the wrong bowl too. Anyway, I doubt very highly these are going to be edible anyway, according to how bad the smell coming off them was, the stale smell. I guess we'll just go ahead and open up the muesli bar, even though I'm going to assume it's going to be the same exact story as the last time. But we mustn't make assumptions. We could be surprised, and this one turns out to be perfect, but it certainly looks the same as the first one, as you can see. The oxidization on the fruit doesn't look quite as bad, but it's still leaching, as you can see. And our cheese spread. This one feels pretty similar to the older one, or from the previous meal from breakfast, but we'll have a look. Same sort of thing. It's got that, you know, cream ivory color. And very sort of chunky and, yeah, anyway. It is what it is. We'll go check out our main, see if that's ready to go. And then we'll come on back and start giving a few things a try. Okay, we got our main, our beef satay, heated through. It actually feels nice and hot. And we'll pour it out. Now, I had my doubts that this is actually still edible after all this time, but we could be surprised. I think I might actually need a scissors to open this. The tear notches don't want to tear. So, what do we have? We have some sort of, I guess, gravy is the best way to put it. It has a very strong beef smell. And I don't like to complain, but yeah, that certainly doesn't look the greatest, does it? I'm not entirely sure actually what beef satay is supposed to be, but there is a lot of beef in it, but it looks certainly What's the best way to put it? It's just brown mush with some lumps in it. That's the closest thing I can say. Now, I don't know if 18 years in a retort pouch has kind of made things a little worse, but yeah, that certainly doesn't look the greatest, does it? Let's see about these noodles. Oh, okay, I know already that's not going to be good. I made the mistake of licking off the spoon, and I just realized beef satay probably has like a peanut sauce in it. After 18 years, that peanut sauce has absolutely gone rancid. Just a little tiny bit that was on my spoon was enough to sort of give that film in my mouth and that not quite burny or stabbing, stinging kind of feeling, but not very far from that. Like, I know already this has gone off. Not good. So I'm gonna give the old tea a drink. This is always a safe bet. Oh, that's just fantastic. So yeah, we'll put it back in it again. We'll get the noodles going, I guess. So we'll stir it around a little bit. It actually seems like there's not a whole lot of water left in it. Gonna open up our seasoning packet, even though I really honestly don't know how it's gonna go. Oh God, that's vile. I shouldn't have opened that. That just smells like old rotten shrimp. So, that's gonna have to go in like a Ziploc bag, inside a Ziploc bag, inside a trash bag, in the garbage. That's absolutely horrible. Oh man. So yeah, we got some plain noodles here. Let's give them a little try, I suppose, just to see if they're actually stale like I thought they were. Probably gonna have to get a fork for those and make it a little easier. So yeah, plain noodles. We're really going fancy here today. Let's give this a try. It's probably way too much, but we'll see. Yeah, that's basically like trying to eat strands of cardboard. That's the best way to describe that. So I guess the soy sauce, we have no need for it now. Just lay that off to the side. So really, aside from the muesli and the tea that I had from the previous meal, this certainly hasn't fared very well. Let's try a little tiny piece of the beef just to say that I did. But yeah, this is in a peanut sauce, and the peanut sauce is gone off. Let's just see what this is like. Oh God, that's utterly vile. Oh man. Ooh, even the tea's not helping very much on that one. That's not very good. Well, if we're gonna make things bad, just will to make them worse, I suppose. Let's try out our second muesli bar. Snap off a little piece. I don't know if it's because I'm already sort of saturated with this, but that seemed worse than it was the first time. So we really might end up with like good tea and chocolate for this meal. Who knows? Let's try one of our tropical fruit grains. Like I said, it's incredibly dry looking and discolored. Compared to everything else so far, they're not bad, but I certainly wouldn't call them good either. It's a vague taste of, I'd say, mango and pineapple. Probably the two flavors I'm getting. It's gelatinous once you chew it, but immediately when you put it in your mouth, it is incredibly dry. The moisture obviously comes back from what's inside your mouth. They are getting better actually as time's going on. It's almost like this is now finally cleansing my palate and taken away from all the other horrible stuff in here. They're still nice and sweet. It's a good little dessert kind of item. Now it's gonna come the interesting part. Let's see how this chocolate bar fared. It's not perfect, but I tell you, for 18 years old, and for that to look like it does, and for it to just sort of taste, I guess, slightly off, that's absolutely amazing how they were able to keep that like that in just like a, foil-lined paper container. That's That's some crazy technology going on there, and food science, to be able to create something like that that is able to stand the test of time. It's nice and sweet. It's a little bit milky, and obviously, I guess the part where it's not 100% perfect is probably from the fact that, yeah, the milk fats or whatever that's in the creation of the milk chocolate itself has gone slightly bad over time, but it certainly isn't off-putting. It just drops it down from being a 10 out of a 10 to, you know, like an 8 out of a 10, that kind of thing. So yeah, we really didn't have a whole lot of good stuff here, did we? Once again, I'm not even going to try the cheese spread. There's one more pack left to go along with supper. I'm not even going to open it that time because it's really no need. I probably pushed the envelope by even trying some of that stuff. I'm certainly not going to try any of the cheese spread. So just going to go back to the tea, the one huge redeeming quality of all this, and we'll get everything cleared away, and eventually, or soon, we'll get supper squared away. So we'll be back in a little while. Okay, guys, and now we're going to get supper ready. So we're just going to, once again, need our spoon. We got some instant soup, beef flavored. We got a milk chocolate bar with clinkers as our dessert, or one of our desserts. We got some tropical fruit grains again. We got a packet of sultanas this time. And like I said, we had a cheese spread, but I don't see the need of opening it again. We got a cold drink, lemon lime. And then we got our main, which is lamb in mint gravy. So I don't know how that's going to turn out. But the first thing we're going to do is get this into some boiling water and get this cooking. We also had a sweetened condensed milk and a tomato ketchup left over, but I don't think the ketchup's going to really go with the main meal. I also don't think the main meal is going to be particularly edible anyway. And we didn't really have coffee or anything like that. And I didn't use the sweetened condensed milk in the muesli, so it's kind of hard to go back and change that now. So yeah, we'll just pack those away for some other time. We'll probably get some hot water now for our beef soup, and we'll mix up, obviously, the cold drink with some cold water, and I'll be back in a second. Alright guys, so we got our hot water. I put 8 ounces in there. I think the glass is meant to hold 8, so although it's pretty close to the top, I may have made a little bit of a problem, I guess, in trying to stir this, but we'll unpack the beef soup and try it out. A little bit of powder. This actually smells great, so that's a good sign. As they say here, I think I may have overstoked the furnace a little bit, but let's see if I can stir this properly. Yeah, this is all just in lumps. This is awesome. Try to break these lumps apart a little bit. Okay, I know that probably doesn't look the nicest, but it's gotten rather gelatinous. It's a nice thick, feels kind of hearty, obviously, just for an instant soup mix. Seems kind of strange to call something hearty, but it seems like it's going to be good, and it's a very, very pleasant beef and vegetable sort of flavor or smell coming off of there. So that seems pretty good, actually. All right, next we'll get our cold drink going. So this is a lemon lime flavor. It says dissolve in 300 mils of water. I probably got more than that there, so hold on. Give this a bit of a stir. It's got a really, really strong, I don't know, artificial is not the right word to use, but medicinal kind of lemon smell. I mean, it's called lemon lime drink, but I'm not really getting much lime from that at all. It's mostly just a strong lemon smell. It's certainly a vibrant, sort of neon yellow kind of color. So I guess we'll see how that turns out. We'll open up our fruit grains again, see if these are any different from the previous pack. Nope, they look pretty much the same. Sort of slightly discolored and oxidized. Now we'll open up our sultanas, and I really don't know what to think about these. The raisins were fine, or sultanas were fine in the muesli on its own, but see how these look. They have an incredibly strong smell, so I don't know if they've fermented slightly over time. But there you have your raisins. They don't seem to have dried out a whole lot, which is a good sign, and they don't seem overly discolored. But I guess we'll find out if they actually taste good or not. And I guess while we're waiting for our meal, the main entree to finally finish heating up, we'll open up this. So this is our milk chocolate with clinkers. So our previous milk chocolate bar looked perfect, so I have good high hopes about this one. And once again, this is just amazing. Like, that's 18 years old, and it looks pretty well brand new. And clinkers, I think, in this case, looks like it's probably Rice Crisps. So, looking forward to that one. So that's probably enough time for our main. Go pick that up and get it opened up for you. So here we have our 250 gram main, lamb and mint gravy. Let's tear it open and see what we're dealing with. Once again, just kind of brown sauce. That's really odd. I'm not used to mint as a flavor in a savory dish. And I tell you, this actually smells really good. And I guess these are supposed to be pieces of potato? I honestly don't know. Actually, no. Now that I'm looking at it, it kind of just looks like chunks of fat. So they're not particularly lean pieces of lamb. But this one at least smells good. The worst thing is I don't know if just the mint flavor is overpowering any sort of rancidity it might have. But it's a nice sort of light looking gravy. Let's just try a little tiny bit. That seemed good at first, but now I'm getting that sort of metallic sort of flavor at the back end. And that's not good. That's not a good sign. So this had a lot of promise at first. I thought this was actually going to be sort of moderately edible. But wow, there's a lot of fat in here. So it's literally just sauce and meat, like no vegetables whatsoever. The same thing with the previous main, the beef satay. It was just a gravy with meat, and that's all. So not a whole lot of sort of variety, I suppose. This is interesting. I don't know if this would have been a popular meal when it was new, when it was actually being issued or not, but I'd be interested to see what it was like back then, because I think it's something I probably would have enjoyed. But, you know, time has not been kind to this. So, clean this off a little bit, and then we'll give our beef soup a try. So it's gotten nice and thick. It's probably actually easier for me to just drink this straight from the glass than it is to try to do it from the spoon. So yeah, let's just try this. It's a really nice instant beef soup. It's just weird. Most of everything in this ration really didn't stand up very well. A few things did that were surprising, like the muesli and the chocolate. This beef soup is perfect. I couldn't have asked for anything better. Nice and salty and savory. And probably was a good choice to pair it with this. I think if you would have had this back 18 years ago, it probably would have been actually a pretty good meal. You know, we don't really have a whole lot left to do. Let's try out our drink, I suppose, just to cleanse the palate a little bit. Remember, this is supposed to be a lemon lime cold drink. Oh, I don't know what kind of sweeteners they use in that, but pungent. But it's not too bad, actually. I'm surprised that it tastes as well as it does. That's the best way of putting it. We had our tropical fruit grains before. Let's see if this packet is any different. The pieces seem a little more, I guess, white than the previous ones did. Oddly enough, they look worse, but they actually taste better. These ones don't have any sign of them being old, which is kind of odd. But it is what it is. Let's give our sultanas a try now. They do look a little shriveled, I suppose, is the best way to put it. But they don't seem to have anything like mold or anything on them, so let's give a few a try. Yeah, there's just something slightly off about them. I don't know if anyone's ever had like raisins from old humanitarian daily rations. And those ones look really sort of oily still after all that time. And I guess it's whatever preservative maybe that they sprayed on them before packaging. But yeah, after a long period of time, that doesn't really work out very well for the raisins. Yeah, I'm sure these were fantastic. It's not like they're bad, actually. They're still somewhat edible. But yeah, I guess the off-putting nature of the preservative is just enough to sort of make them mildly unenjoyable, I guess. So the last thing to try, guys, is our amazingly fresh-looking chocolate bar, which has clinkers in it, which I assume are Rice Krispies. So give this a try. And those little pieces inside are actually different colors. I don't know if you can see that or not. And they seem more like pieces of like dried marshmallow or some sort of like sponge toffee or something like that. So I don't think they're actually Rice Krispies. They have a little bit more of like a candy kind of flavor to them. But yeah, this is absolutely amazing. For 18 years old, this is just perfect chocolate. This tastes even better than the first one, the regular milk chocolate one. You can get a bit even better cross section now with this shot. As you can see, it's kind of like an airy, sugary kind of little chunks. But yeah, this is what it sort of seems like. But yeah, this is delicious. I'm gonna finish this. So guys, this has been a review of a year 2000 Menu B New Zealand 24-hour ration. I was very, very happy to acquire this from a seller on eBay. And we did a comparison, obviously, with this one, with a newer ration from 2015. So when this one's finally done and edited and sent out, and you guys are all watching it right now, when I get the next chance, it'll be to crack open the 2015 ration and see what the differences are. At least for the 2015 ration, I'm going to assume that the majority of the items are going to be still either perfect or still fairly edible. This ration, over the span of 3 meals, there wasn't a whole lot that was great, I suppose. For breakfast, we had our basically cup of tea and our muesli, and for lunch we had our chocolate bar and our cup of tea, and here we had our chocolate bar and our fruit grains and our soup and our drink. So suppers ended up being probably the best overall portion. So I'm sure if you put it all together, there's probably one really nice meal here altogether out of things that lasted. So guys, I'll like I said, I'll try to get back to you as quick as I can with the next review, with the newer, more modern New Zealand ration. But as I always like to say, thanks a lot for stopping by, and have a good one.